Howdy y'all, a Texan legislative odyssey. Ever wondered how a bill becomes a law in Texas? Buckle up, Buttercup, because today we're diving into the Texas legislative process. I'm your trusty guide, Dan Keeling, here to make this surprisingly entertaining. It all starts with an idea, and maybe a napkin. Our journey begins with a single, courageous Texan, struck by inspiration. Whatever the spark, this brave soul decides to take their idea to the big leagues, the Texas legislature. They need to draft an actual bill, a legally binding document that lays out the nitty-gritty of their proposed law. Filing the bill. Don't mess with the clerk. Our intrepid Texan, armed with their meticulously crafted bill, now has to get it into the right hands. These clerks are the gatekeepers of the legislative process, and they don't suffer fools or poorly formatted documents gladly. Once the bill is filed, it's assigned a unique number and enters the wild, wacky world of the Texas legislature. First reading. It's like speed dating for bills. Our bill, now officially part of the legislative ecosystem, gets its first moment in the spotlight. The bill's title is simply read aloud in the chamber, a quick introduction for all the other bills and lawmakers. Chapter 4, Referral to Committee, where bills go to get dissected. Our bill, fresh off its first reading high, is now shipped off to a committee. These committees are made up of legislators who specialize in specific areas, like education or transportation. The committee's job is to give our bill a thorough once-over. They might even hold public hearings, inviting experts and concerned citizens to weigh in. Chapter 5. Committee action, to amend or not to amend. The committee now faces a critical decision: what to do with our bill. They could amend it, hold on to it for further consideration, or vote to send it back to the full chamber with a recommendation. Chapter 6. Second reading. Back to the big leagues and more debate than a chili cook-off. If our bill gets the committee's blessing, it's back to the main chamber for round 2, the second reading. Lawmakers get to debate the bill's merits. Expect impassioned speeches and enough legislative jargon to make your head spin. Chapter 7. Third reading, last chance, saloon for amendments. Our bill, having survived the second reading, now faces its final test in this chamber, the third reading. After all the debating and amending is done, it's time for the final vote. Chapter 8, the other chamber. Buckle up, it's a mirror image. Just when our bill thought it was home free, it's thrown into the lion's den of the other chamber. The other chamber gets to go through the whole process again: readings, committees, debates. They can amend the bill, send it back for revisions, or reject it outright. Chapter 9. Sometimes the two chambers end up with versions of a bill that look about as similar as a Chihuahua and a Great Dane. That's where the conference committee swoops in to save the day. This team of lawmakers from both chambers is tasked with ironing out the differences and creating one unified bill. Chapter 10. Our bill, battered but not broken, has run the legislative gauntlet. Now, it faces its final boss, the governor of Texas. The governor can sign the bill, ignore it, or veto it. Chapter 11. If our bill survives the governor's judgment, it officially becomes a Texas law. Now, the relevant state agencies have to figure out how to actually put this law into action. It's a complex process, but that's democracy in action. Outrow! And that's how a bill becomes a law in Texas. Stay informed and engaged in your legislative process. We've followed our bill from its humble beginnings to its final form as a law of the land. So get out there, stay informed, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one writing the next big Texas law.